This is not my routine. This is not my routine. But it's still Wednesday, and we're live on Saddlemore Studios. Is that our stream?
That's it.
You haven't worked out with the new.
Oh, that was on
tagline.
my to-do list? I thought that was
Yeah.
yours.
No, you're the research guy. It's in your title.
Oh. I didn't research it, no.
It's okay.
Okay, sorry.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks.
How are you, Hagen?
I'm great. How are you?
Pretty good. I would enjoy some rain yesterday, so
That was crazy.
feeling
Yeah.
cool, refreshed. I could go
I
play
know.
volleyball today.
You
'cause it's
could.
cooler outside.
You absolutely could.
But
Yeah,
just
it's less than it's under 100 today. Wow.
That's what it says, but what's
I'm sure it
feel like?
feels more, but it's the dry bulb temperature is under 100.
Oh,
Yeah.
but you know
Go back
what?
to your
Might be
psychometrics.
just as dry. Are the news updates?
Oh, it will be quite dry because there's not a lot. Wow. I have been spending in more time than I had anticipated creating a training class. Going to help
Ooh.
people understand a little bit more about what APIs are. So been working on that quite a bit, making some slides, taking some notes, also learning myself, which is, of course, very important.
Finding yourself?
Well, yes, no, learning myself.
Learning
Well,
yourself.
I guess that's another way of saying finding myself.
Teaching yourself?
Yeah.
No one says learning myself. You and your English words are wrong today.
We'll see how many you get wrong in this 10-minute little
I
intro
dare
we
you
got
to
here.
count.
Oh,
Let
I'll
the
start
comments
counting.
count.
Let the comments count. But other than that, we're doing some exciting things with Procore, working with Nick Vargo, and hopefully making things easier innovation station wise. We're just testing the waters on that, so I don't want to give you too many details on that, but pretty exciting stuff. But other than that, just kind of doing our normal day-to-day things, making sure that apps don't break, doing some small research here and there, but that's what we got on our plate. What about yourself?
Pretty busy world out here. Do you
Oh.
have some updates to share from the
Oh.
marketing department?
Well, please share away.
As we mentioned last time, we do have that nomination for the Procore Groundbreak Award of Excellence of Innovation.
Very exciting.
And if you, as you're supposed to read the communication emails,
Right.
even though you lied to me before the show, we do have a LinkedIn banner that you can post on your LinkedIn profile if you have a LinkedIn.
Okay.
I
I
hear
do.
our producers might not have a LinkedIn, so it was hard for him to find the email. But we do have a specific banner that you're welcome to post and just showcase how we are being nominated for a national award.
That's pretty cool.
So
Yeah.
so winners again will be announced September 19, 20 at Groundbreak. And we do have a couple folks around the office who will be going, so maybe they will tell us the news when they're there. And apart from that, I don't know if you've seen all the trainings that come up on a monthly basis.
I have, yes.
We have one of our fan favorites, Courtney. She's doing What is a Brand?
Ooh, yeah.
And you signed up. So it's pretty exciting one. I've heard good things about it. So it starts today at 2. So if you haven't signed
Oh.
up, feel free to sign up. You still
Okay.
have time.
Right after the show?
Yeah.
Just go from show to show?
That's what I told the guest today to do.
Okay.
He might be joining as well. Or she. We don't know who it is.
Who is it?
And kind of related to that, I think there'll be some new brand guidelines coming out soon for
okay.
RO. So
Very nice.
marketing heavy.
Yeah.
But that's all I have for you right now.
Wow, okay. Well then,
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
What's it time for?
I don't know.
Time to spin the
the
wheel. You watch any game shows, dude? Oh my goodness.
I'm pretty sure that's from the renovation.
Spin the wheel.
No. What's that? What's that?
The renovation. There's no renovation.
The move that bus. Move that bus.
Oh,
That was like
Home
a
improvements. type of
no.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Anywho,
We're waiting for someone to spin the wheel, but
it's spinning.
it's spinning.
Maybe. Big spin. What is it?
Building around the world. I hear from the producers who are very quiet today.
Yeah, they're just kind of.
They're playing off.
I just
over
see
there.
legs and arms just all over the
Yes.
place back there.
As long as no one pushes the button today. Keep those legs in the sky if we can. So this news for today, we're actually talking about a project that's kind of down the pipe,
Okay.
but it's a 6.3 billion railway for the Olympics at Brisbane.
Oh, really? That's where they're being
Yeah.
held.
So I mean, the Olympics were all supposed to be held in 2032,
2032.
but Brisbane is actually a pretty fastest growing city down under,
Really?
as they say.
I am aware. Yes.
I mean, it has a big population according to my research, because one of those does research in this room. They're expected to reach 4.9 million people by 2036, and they're gonna prepare for 2032 the Olympic Games there. But this project is a pretty long tunnel runway. You can kind of see on the video that we're sharing online. It's about 10.2 kilometers with 5.9 kilometers of twin tunnels under the Brisbane River and CBD. So it's connecting the new underground with 8 upgraded stations. So obviously that's the biggest challenge is here. It's a pretty big project. It's a pretty deep hole, and there's a lot going on. So try to keep a running city with excavating and road work and updates.
Yeah. It looks like a whole ordeal there.
It's a hole. It is a hole.
Hey, where's those drums when we need them?
So if you happen to go to Australia, specifically Brisbane, make sure you check out the Down Under the Down Under.
Nice. Give me those drums.
Oh my goodness!
Come
That's a
on.
great drum set.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
I think we're ready for the
Let's
wheel
just
again.
have our own just over
Yeah.
here.
Uh,
Well, that's nice. That's really interesting. I think last week, 2 weeks ago, we had another tunnel project. We had, well, it was not a tunnel, but it was tunneling involved. So it seems like people are just trying to dig under now. But yeah, let's move on to our next segment.
Can we have
Can we
Mr.
have
Lex
the
spin
next
leg?
segment, please?
Spin the wheel.
I know we're very needy over here, but without y'all, we would just be two guys talking. Oh, and that was building around the world.
Yes.
Around the world. Hey-o! This week in history with a nice commercial behind the wheel. Oh gosh. This is wow.
People behind the screens
I
are
know.
struggling today.
Well, this past week in history, there was actually lots of art theft that happened
Oh.
this past week in the annals of history.
In the what?
The annals.
Okay.
Yeah, try that one out.
I
In
don't know I'm just gonna stay quiet.
Okay. In 1865, we had the first U.S. patent for liquid soap. Liquid
Ooh.
soap. And then we have our first piece of art stolen. People are dying back over.
I think so. I don't know why. It's just art.
No. In 1911, the Mona Lisa was stolen. Do you know from which museum or country it was stolen?
I'm pretty sure it currently resides at the Louvre.
Sure. That's 2 mispronunciations.
Okay, I use French here now. I thought you were German. So
I still know how to pronounce the Louvre.
Louvre. I was trying to be authentic,
Mm-hmm.
Louvre,
Right.
No, I
Yes,
did not know.
you are correct.
Yeah, I was
It was
correct,
stolen
yeah.
from the Louvre, yes.
Got
Back
it.
in 1911. It was gone for 2 years.
Really?
And that kind of started the whole, why people love the Mona Lisa so much, because really it's not that interesting. In 1920, we had the National Football League was formed. It's interesting. A lot of our colleagues were talking about fantasy football. So it's interesting that it started back in 1920 this past week. Do you know what the original name for the NFL was?
Let's play some football.
Let's play
Sundays.
some football. No, the American Pro Football Conference.
Of course.
And then, funny enough, in 1920, that same week, the 19th Amendment was ratified, so women were allowed to vote. Do you know how close? So we had to have, I forget how many states had to ratify that, but the last state to ratify, do you know how close the vote was? How many votes?
18.
Well, I didn't phrase that question very well, but it was ratified by one vote.
Oh.
Only one vote more for rather than against. You're right. English is hard.
Tell me about it.
1942, Bambi had its
Bambi?
theatrical release. Yeah.
Deer?
The deer.
Oh.
In 1959, Hawaii becomes a state. Do you know which number state Hawaii was?
Not 50, but 47.
50 was correct. Should have gone with your first instinct there. In 1978, we had the first transatlantic balloon flight, which is pretty crazy. I don't know if I would ever fly across the
Do you know
Atlantic
how
Ocean.
far or to from where to where?
I would just imagine
You
that's.
didn't do your research again?
I mean, coast to coast. I don't know.
Oh, wow. I don't know if I could do it.
Yeah, a
What if it
balloon
rains?
flight? A balloon flight is freaking crazy.
Crazy. Do you want to do one?
In 1989, Nolan Ryan became the first person to strike out 5,000 batters. Do you know when he ended his career, how many he had struck out?
5,001.
5,713.
Oh, dang. You never know.
You
It
never
could have been
know.
close to.
Yeah.
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 And then in 2004, we had our second artwork stolen, The Scream.
Oh.
You know,
Another movie.
No. good old Edvard.
Because they stole
Monk.
those reviews for those movies, but that's precisely.
Anywho, do you know which museum that one was stolen from, or which country? Museum or country? I've never heard of the museum personally, so I don't know if
So it's not French or
It's not.
German.
no, it's
Oh,
not.
so I'm gonna say, is it from Italy?
No, Oslo, Norway.
Norway.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice. I didn't know that was stolen as well.
Yeah, 2004. We were actually like alive.
Oh,
And then the last one here in 2017, we had our first total solar eclipse in 40 years. I remember that because like
Oh.
everyone was going crazy, and people, because I think it was only like the West Coast that could see it. So I know a lot of people were like, or I don't know if you could see it in Texas very well, but a lot of people were traveling all over the place to go see it. Did you happen to see it?
17. I was in high school.
No, you weren't.
I was not in high school.
You had just graduated college.
Community college. Sorry. Trying to pretend I'm young. That was in college. No, I was in Texas.
But did you remember it at all?
No, I don't think so,
Oh,
actually.
I remember a few of my friends were going out and about to check it out.
Did you go check it out?
I didn't know. I know people were like really scared not to look at. You had to get like those
Right,
special
those really fancy.
sunglasses, yeah. Or you're gonna go blind. But that's been this week in history. How exciting! Woohoo!
I think we're ready for the biggest win of today, though.
Oh,
I know we're close on time, so the win is our guest today.
oh! I
Are you
didn't
ready
even
for our
get that.
guest?
Wow. Oh, I'm not ready for him at all.
Your
No.
guest? I don't know if our guest is ready.
But
But
pretty chill over there.
I'll let you see if you can guess it based on these clues.
Okay. Let me see.
He went to a school named Eminem, NNM, A&M.
Oh,
I
that
don't know
one.
how you pronounce it.
Whatever.
But regardless of where he studied, he's a pretty creative and innovative guy. He could have been more creative when choosing a school, but he's here now. That's what we appreciate. Not to be confused with Kobe, but this guy's also a legend on the field.
Nice.
What he likes in basketball, some might say height. He compensates in construction and being a technology whiz. So he's a jack of all trades over there. And he was in VDC for 1 week when he was an intern
Oh,
back in the
wow.
day. He went back to operations, worked at Cambria for over a year, and now he's back as the VDC guy.
Oh,
So
he saw the light.
he saw the light. He's like a chameleon, just adapts to whatever he's thrown at. With a recent trip to Italy, he's living up to his name, and he's ready to go check out the Italian restaurants in Austin. He's ready to stroll his wine like a pro and do this a couple of times.
Yes.
And probably provide some unsolicited advice on which pastas to start in the town.
Nice.
And you might know this character, but he has similar Italian roots and has some plumbing experience. So you can say he's our local Mario Bros.
Oh.
Um, he's a husky owner, tennis aficionado, hard worker, and an awesome friend. It's my honor, my privilege to introduce Kolby Gagliano.
Woohoo!
After this commercial.
And then a couple months later, I actually just got here.
Oh, definitely, yeah. You go down to the lake, enjoy that, and you hit up some Barton Springs and all. Like, what's not to love about it, except for the traffic and high home prices? But well,
Dead body.
wait, what?
Did you not hear about their dead bodies in the like Lady War Lake?
Like recently?
Yeah.
No. I guess.
Can we talk
so,
about it?
Yeah, I assume that
sorry.
every body of water has had a dead body in it at some point, right? Like that's just bound to happen. But whenever you get that kind of refreshment to your memory of like, oh yeah, it happened in Austin, whenever.
Honestly,
like,
I'm not afraid because I don't know.
Gotta
It's just
scooch back
it's
a
just
little bit
body.
here.
It's just that sounds very insensitive, but no, I think I mean, like every river has something going on. So
Wait, so what was the story with the bodies in Austin?
you really not, and you didn't hear about it.
I don't watch
Apparently,
the
there's a
news.
serial killer like
What?
going on in Austin.
Like now?
Yeah,
Or,
like
like,
there are
years ago?
already like three bodies found like since this year.
Wait, is she playing games? This is a real thing.
Yeah.
How do I not know about this?
Actually, like Angel from accounting told me. I was like, "What, really?" And she was like, "You need to watch out because I live on the lake and I just moved down here, and yeah, there was already body found like last weekend."
There's a serial killer in Austin, like now, and they're finding bodies in the river.
Well, the body was already found, but there was the victims are usually the same group of people. Like they are usually 30 above male.
Oh, Jesus.
So that's I know like I'm not a target, but you should watch out.
Apparently so. Yeah, thank you for the heads up. No one sent me a flyer or a text or anything. You'd be like, hey, James, watch your back whenever you're walking around Austin.
Yeah, but
You look alive. Like, you look fresh.
I feel it.
I like it. I wish I could wake up feeling the way you look.
I appreciate that.
I'm not really sure what I'm chasing at here, but you're youthful. Very handsome fella. So thank you for taking some time to hang out with us today, Kolby. How you doing?
Man, I'm good. Another day in the life, learning every day. and here with all my friends in the studio.
Yeah, it is kind of funny because I don't know which one was saying that. I don't really pay attention to them when they talk. I'm back there trying to make sure, the audio is working and the stream's going and like things are well. So I don't get to tune in, but I think I heard something about one of them say something about friend or best friend or whatever it was.
Yeah, that was Bruno.
It usually is.
It's more of a manager type of role, but yeah, you get the gist.
But I think it is this is in the annex here in the Austin office. It is kind of unique, and it's definitely like it's not your typical coworkers.
No, sir.
It's not like walk in and hey, what's up, Joe? Oh, nothing, Tom. And like you just kind of go to work and like head down and do it. Like people are conversing, sharing stories, enjoying each other. It's definitely a bit different than most places.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part about what do you love about RO?
RO is great in a sense that they really give you opportunities to grow. Besides all the people and all the the family essence that's generally known around the company. The room for opportunities for growth are very clear and present. You have your career-oriented growth, with your grow goals. You have the Friday forums. We got
nice
the
drop.
you get the mentorship program, and you also have like some social aspects. You got your town halls, RO Connect now. Kickball, fantasy football, which is kicking up soon.
Man, that's around the corner, isn't it?
It is around the corner. And then you look at people like, yourself, Cesar behind the camera, actual career, I guess, implemented growth where you can just create your own job, essentially. I mean, 5 years ago, this didn't exist. R&D didn't exist. Our Viz department did not exist. And RO puts faith in folks to, pioneer their own way, based on the skill sets of those individuals. And I think that's very cool and something you probably wouldn't see in a lot of other companies.
It's one of those things I'm very appreciative of. I did just realize I wrote down boot ball instead of football. I don't know what boot ball is, but anyways, yeah.
To play it.
That's like I said, I'm appreciative of it, and I think it's the willingness to adapt to what's going on in the world. If you find the right people, you're gonna want to keep them around. You're going to be able to identify their strengths, and they're going to be able to identify areas where RO can be improved or further strengthened. And good communicators will find a way to marry those two things together and make some magic happen.
Most definitely.
Man, I know Bruno already alluded to it, but refresh my memory. You interned for more than a week as VDC, right?
More than a week, yeah.
Okay.
That was a little
hyperbole.
Yeah. But yeah, 2019, I came over here as a VDC intern.
2019? All right, continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you'd been here since like 2016 or something like that.
No, not that long ago, but I've been around for a little while in the shadows. I came over here 2019. I was poached by the lovely Miranda Minshew at our A&M Career Fair.
and she talked, kind of, gave me the rundown of what our VDC department was here, and sounded like something I would be into. She was looking for good people at the time, and it still kind of keeps faith with how we recruit nowadays as well. But seemed like a good fit. Came over and learned a lot of things.
If she was like a poacher over in Africa, she'd have a necklace so heavy she'd have like scoliosis or something going on.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Given the number of people she's been able to pull into the fray.
Most definitely.
I don't know what she's some sort of magic sauce she has where she can be like, that one. That's going to be a good fit.
She's got something special.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. So over at A&M, what were you, construction science program? Or?
No, I was in the College of Architecture. Originally was on a more animation, coding, video game development career path. It was called Visualization, was a title of the degree plan. From there, I kind of felt that was a little bit too stifled, not super real world applicable, and decided to make a change, and did more of a broader architectural, give me a little bit of everything type of degree, and got out in 4 years and came back.
That's cool though, kind of getting into more of that. I know you mentioned like visualization games and things like that. What was the original interest there for you?
I'd played video games growing up my whole life. It sounded super cool. Pixar has a studio in LA, and they do a lot of recruiting from A&M. You'll notice in some of their movies, like Monsters University, they have a certain staircase that's modeled straight out of A&M's campus. The old man from the movie Up, with the cane and everything, modeled straight after a professor that was at A&M at the time. No
kidding.
And there's a lot of like subtle things that the students at A&M recreate that have been poached by Pixar, and they implement those subtle details into the movies, and it's kind of like an inside, not an inside joke, but just a lesser known Easter egg. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Yeah,
I was gonna get there eventually.
Yeah, no, it sounded very cool, very interesting, and then it kind of seemed like it was a very hard box to go into, and I just didn't think that was what I was supposed to be doing. So,
man, and you picked up on all that at 20, 21, 19, whatever years old. It's
about 20.
I'm impressed. I still barely know what I want to do. Sit down and do my reviews with Mr. Winnie. He's like, what do you want to do, James? Where do you see yourself 5 years? Like, I'm not really sure.
Do this all day.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone else in the office would appreciate that. I feel bad for them out there, the poor marketing folk and the VDC people are actually trying to do work, and I'm in here just rambling for an hour every Wednesday, midday.
Agreed.
But it is, that's very, very mature of you to acknowledge that. Do you ever feel like you missed out on your dream, though? Like, was that still something?
Yeah. Most definitely. And again, that wasn't something that I was like, set on from the moment I realized like what I wanted to do in life. It just seemed like very cool and very along the lines of my interests at the time. But it was, just a little shift in mentality around that age that kind of sparked the change.
It does seem like this impossible thing that we ask 16, 17, 18-year-old kids to do, to be like, okay, you're about to go spend, or your parents are going to spend, or you're going to accrue debt of tens of thousands of dollars that will influence what you can and cannot do for the rest of your life. Go.
Exactly.
I know you can't drink. I know you can't vote. Maybe you can drive and you just got that privilege. You're still packing lunches and stuff to take to school, but go ahead and figure out what you want to do for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
So it seems a bit silly to me. And again, a lot of props to you for recognizing, like, I think I'm going to go with something a little with a slightly wider hiring girth.
Agreed. And, you ask a lot of kids those age, and, they don't dream of work. I mean, high school kids, they don't have an idea career in mind. Like, they don't want to do anything. And so it's kind of
I didn't have a mind, period. I still wake up every day going, how is I as dumb as I was yesterday?
Yeah.
Baffles me I'm alive.
One day at a time. But, made it this far.
So you came in, you interned, and then you went out to the field for a while and ended up coming back to VDC. What was that like, being kind of, what was that? I'd be interested to hear both the transition from being in the field to back to VDC, and also what was what was the impetus there? What made you think like that's where I want to go to?
Yeah, I mean, so we'll start with the reasoning. I mean, it was again Miranda's kind of master plan to kind of put me through the same ringer that she was experienced. She started in VDC, went out to the field, learned how a job site was run and how to build, and then came back, used those skills to better the department. So she kind of set me on that same career path. When I first got the call from RO in 2020 with the job offer, I was assuming it was going to be a VDC position. And Miranda was the first one to call me, and she was like, "Hey, change of plans. We're gonna, send you out to the field a little bit, or for a little bit, and then, eventually pull you back in." And so it was kind of always on the back of my mind, and also on her radar to, bring me back into the office. But I do think it was very helpful to get out there and get my boots dirty.
Yeah, definitely. That real world experience is irreplaceable, and you'll
It is.
learn more a week on a job site than you will 2 years sitting in an office and just kind of observing from a distance.
Definitely.
So you said 2020 there. 2020 was kind of an interesting year, especially around March 13th, 14th. It got real strange.
Sure enough.
Did you hire on just in time for all that fun?
I had missed a lot of the protocols that were implemented. So when I first hired on, I went to San Antonio for 8 months, and we were wearing masks over there. You had to do the thermometer check when you came in the door. But talking to some folks, there were some previous, I guess, more extremities that were implemented, when it first hit. So it was kind of on the dying out phase of it all, but it was still in place. So yes and no, I would say. The masks were there. Sanitizer was everywhere.
Yeah.
But
It's funny how quickly all those disappeared.
right.
No masks, sanitizer, wiping down desks happens occasionally, I think, nowadays. I remember wiping down my groceries, being like, "Oh, does this have germs on it? I don't know. Wipe that
Yeah.
banana off with an alcohol wipe."
Any package that came on your porch, you gotta
Yeah. Forgot about that.
don't put it on the counter. Like just put a towel under it. I don't know, crazy
Just
stuff.
Crack the door open, tell UPS man, just drop it down there. I'll come get it in a minute.
Yeah,
You have to sign for it. No, it's cool. It's cool. Just don't worry about
keep
it.
your pen.
It's fun to think how quickly everything changed and how quickly everything went effectively back to how it was during
Yeah.
COVID.
Seemed like a bad dream now.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm happy it's mostly behind us. What do you get excited about in the world, Kolby? So you're a young fella, just spent some time
Yeah.
out there in the old country. What gets you fired up? Is it traveling? Is it eating? Is it?
It's all of it, man.
Yeah.
Like Bruno had mentioned, just came off a trip to Italy. Maybe it's the travel bug speaking, but to me, it feels like the world is large enough to experience something new if you want to go find it. You find a little bit of time, a couple times a year. You can get out and go to the different corners of the world and meet folks, go to places. It's almost limitless. It's a world, so it is limited, but there's plenty of things to do, places to go, and just folks that you haven't met yet that may be a part of your life in the future. There's surprises around every corner. So I just think there's something new with every day that comes, and the possibilities are endless.
What was your favorite part about being over there,
Food.
other than being off of work?
The
Like,
food.
The food.
100% the food. Yeah, it was delicious, and I wish I could bring you a sample or something, but it was just.
You and I both.
I hope you
brother.
take my word. It was impeccable.
Do you have a go-to food whenever you're here? You like have a tendency towards Italian food or
No, not
Mexican or-
necessarily. I'm a sucker for Torchy's. There's one very close to my house, up in Rosedale.
That queso.
Delicious. I'm also a sucker for pizza. Pine House Pizza's in my backyard essentially, so it's a walk away if I
Got
ever
some
want
good
it.
options there. Torchy's, Pine House.
Yeah, and I'm moving soon, so kind of bittersweet there. Not as many temptations nearby, but fall victim to both of those quite often.
New marketing campaign for Torchy's. Be our next victim.
Straight up, yeah.
After having Caitlin's commercial, if you will, play there, it seems,
Appropriate.
yeah, something like that. Not sure if it's more appropriate or less appropriate. More impactful.
There
How
you
about
go.
that?
That's
That's a definite.
the word.
What does your day-to-day look like, Kolby? So I know you're doing VDC stuff now. You just come in and like pull up models and start.
Yeah.
Like you just kind of take a glance at them and say, "Oh, this looks broke." Tell a
Done
trade
deal.
to fix it, or what's
No, it's come in the office, get the coffee going, and then you pull up all your programs. You get the model on one screen, you get all your structural drawings on the other, and then depending on what day it is and where the coordination meeting lies within that week, you go through any structural issues or any design changes that have been made, and a lot of it is validating the model. Looking at drawings, making sure things are the right thicknesses, elevations, boundaries, those type of things. And then the second part of my job essentially is just the clash detection. You take all the models that the subcontractors upload, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, fire protection, and then you run those against each other in a different software and, figure out where the problems are and then think about potential solutions. One guy needs to move this way, some guy needs to move down. And you kind of get those ready for the meeting during the week. And that's where most of the work is produced after that coordination meeting. So you have that meeting with all your trade partners, and then from there, they have work to do, we have work to do, get ready for the next week, make sure things don't touch anymore, and then just keep going from there. So
like a supervisor at a middle school dance. Leave 6 inches for Jesus there.
That's it.
No touching.
Hands above the waist. That type of thing.
Yeah. we got a rim shot finally.
That's
All
good
right.
timing.
You mentioned the validation efforts, and that part seems so critical because we have this weird dichotomy where we have the model and model space, but we're also telling everyone, I think it was a PM or Super Breakfast recently, we were talking about like, hey, you still have the contract documents, and that's
Right.
what you're going to build off of. So it's this weird kind of balancing, and you as a VDC specialist have to be able to make sure that those models are representative of the contract documents and all the changes that come with it and all that.
100%.
How do you have a process for doing that, or do you guys what's that like? Make everyone that's out there and ops listening to this feel good about that process.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I could do my best. So someone that's new and who's still learning the process, like myself, you start with the basics. You make sure your grids are in line, the distance apart. Every building starts with the grid system, and then from there you go for your slab edges, making sure they're the correct distance off of the grid lines. The shapes are all there. You go for the thicknesses, elevations, and these are all things that are easily manipulated in Revit, main software that we're using. But a lot of the issues happen when there's uncertainty from the contract drawings. And I know a lot of the operations folks can appreciate it, that drawings aren't always clear. It's a problem that we run into a lot, which is why we have revisions. And it's our job to fill in the blanks to the best of our ability where the information isn't 100% clear. We can ask questions when we can, but you got to have something modeled to present in these coordination meetings and to the field folks. So a lot of it is just using there's some common sense that comes into play, when certain things aren't exactly lined up, gaps aren't, touching, or there are gaps and things aren't touching. You got to kind of fill in the holes as you go.
I would think that having a good relationship with some field folks, in particular superintendents come to mind, would be super valuable for that.
Shout out Javier Rojas.
Say again?
Shout out Javier Rojas.
Javier, we need to reach out to Javier, get him on here. Javier, coming for you. So save that for another day. But do you feel like the time that you spent out in the field, because you're out at the Quincy, right?
No, sir. I was. It's okay. It was close. It was close by.
Oh,
and Bruno did say it.
What was it?
It was Cambria.
That
was the most recent one.
I was trying. All right.
It's all right. No, but I was out there for 2.5 years, and I think I spent time on 5 different jobs. So San Antonio, there was one. Came to Austin, went to Flex, and then from there went to 2 student housing jobs on West Campus. And those are all more back end of the job duties. And then Cambria was the first one where I was there before we broke ground, and then through up till the punch phase. So I got to see the phase of construction that I was not exposed to on the previous jobs.
Do you feel like that time spent out there in the field, do those relationships help you whenever you're going through and doing that validation and trying to figure out, hey, this doesn't make sense. I don't understand how these walls come together. These stairs are doing something weird or whatever you run into.
Yeah, most definitely. I think the main thing you need to know in any aspect of construction is how to read drawings, and that's something that comes into play when you are a PE on a job site. You know, looking for information to answer or to ask RFIs or to answer questions from your design team, or to go out there and do some QC for your guys in the field. So, yeah, recognizing and reading drawings is key to all of this, and that's something that I did learn on the job site. So
I think it's not just reading the drawings, but the comprehension of the drawings. It's kind of like the difference between being able to, like, you know, read words on a piece of paper versus
Right.
like understanding the meaning. And it does seem like that's one of those things that's so, it's not like writing where it's like, oh,
Right.
here's these rules and this is what this means and this is how you use a comma
Yeah.
or whatever. It's just, it's going to depend on the designer to a high degree and
Right.
how things are drawn. And it's such a tough thing to figure out, especially when you're new to the industry.
exactly, and I think a big part of it is looking at a drawing and visualizing it in a 3D sense. And we put those things, you know, in motion on the screen. But like when an architect is drawing these drawings, I don't think they're thinking like that. I think it's more, you know, this is what the floor plan looks like. These are where your rooms are. What's the next floor? And so they're not really thinking about, you know, how this step in meets this next level. And there's some, you know, conditions here that aren't totally fleshed out. So, I mean, those are kind of the issues that we have to think through, maybe present to our guys in the field and get them to ask the RFIs and the important questions there. But
That's such a great example. Yeah, just it's rolling and, you know, full tilt like a Peterbilt. Boy, my words are getting away from me today.
it's all right.
But yeah, that stuff's getting drawn in 2D for the most part. I'm sure there's some designers that work in Revit or ArchCAD or whatever, but a lot's being done in 2D. So once you start to model those things, then it's like, oh, wait a minute. Now that I'm seeing this in the same space that, or in the same format that'll be occupying a space, this isn't jiving anymore. And that's kind of your opportunity as a VDC fella to be like, hey guys, we've got an issue here that
Right.
we need to resolve. Instead of waiting for the concrete to get poured or the walls to be framed and figure out this is a problem, we can figure it out now.
Right.
It's kind of like magic crystal ball you've got over there.
Exactly.
Looking ahead into construction.
And you can put, you know, whatever number you want for any ceiling elevations or beam elevations, but once you put it in the model and recognize that, hey, this is, you know, through the floor of the next building, like, you know, it's something that it slips through the cracks
I
sometimes.
mean, I can't have 14-foot ceilings whenever I have 10-foot deck to deck.
You could try.
I wrote it.
You
It
could
doesn't
try.
work.
Yeah.
Oh, much love to everyone out there. Everyone's got a lot on their plate, and it seems that every project clients ask for more, and there's not exactly more architects available, more contracts available, more trade partners available. So we have to find ways to be more efficient and work in a more efficient manner. Well, got an idea of what you do day to day now. It was a great VDC dialogue.
You sit in front of me, so I would hope so.
They don't know that. Well, I guess a couple of them do, but you probably do things outside of work too, though. What do you like to do for fun?
Yeah. You know, I like to go down to the lake, LBJ, do a little
Hold on now. You said lake, and then you said LBJ.
Lake
Lake-
LBJ is what it's called.
Lake LBJ, which is Lady Bird or Town Lake or whatever it is. Or
No,
is
sir.
this?
No, this is over by Marble Falls.
You're right. I'm sorry. I was about to give you crap for calling that thing a lake because that is not a lake.
Not a lake.
It's over there too. I realize I'm pointing in the
Yeah.
wrong direction.
It's all good. But speaking of that lake, used to have kayaks at my old house. We love to go put those things in that stream, and you know, and hang out and you know, enjoy the water, enjoy the sun.
So I'm sorry. You're saying Lake LBJ though. You like to go out?
Yeah,
kind
my
of a hot
buddy's
spot for you?
buddy's got a house over there, so we do a little wake surfing. You know,
What surfing?
wake
Wake surfing.
Elaborate.
So
So
you
you
get
got
an image, somebody? I don't know what's going on over there.
yeah. So I mean, it's just regular surfing. You got a surfboard. It's got a little grip, and you just put your feet on it. You hold the rope. Boat pulls you, and then when you get comfortable enough, you know, doing a little carving, riding the groove of the wave. There's a little wake that the boat makes when you
Yeah.
go behind it, so
And you're able to surf on that.
you can surf on it.
This
And
is incredible.
there's yeah, and the main goal is to feel that sweet spot to where you don't have any tension on the rope anymore, and you're just kind of actually surfing like the wake. So wake
That's
surfing,
something.
yeah, very
I wanna
fun.
do some wake surfing. You said wake, and I thought my mind just filled in boarding for me, and I'm like, no, he didn't say that.
It's the same thing, but no boots attached to the board and no rope.
No rope, yeah.
You use
Which
the rope
is-
to get you up, but then you find that groove on your own, throw it in.
How'd you get
crazy.
into that? Is someone was just like, hey, you should go wake surfing?
Yeah, I mean, my friends in high school, they had a pretty nice house on the water, and I dabbled a little bit there. But then, yeah, it just exposure to these opportunities, man. You just get out there and take them.
Fair enough. I guess I'm not doing enough of that nowadays. I need to get out more often.
Need some friends.
Oh, Colby. This was supposed to be fun. This could have been fun.
Sorry,
It's all right.
I'll take that back.
Questions might get a
He
little more
has
difficult
friends.
now. Explain to me in detail the MEP coordination process from start to finish. Kidding.
I gotta.
Cut out of here real quick. I would be curious to hear from you though on that the topic of the BIM stuff. Do you feel like there's additional ways that whole process can be better leveraged in construction?
Yeah, and I think this was touched on too by Mike Clark when he came in here and talked about reality capture. I think that's the next wave of how we can integrate better with the field. That point cloud system at the beginning of a job is essential. You can do that with drones. And I think now it takes us a little while to do the surveying and all that good stuff. And I think, training our field folks, letting them know that, yeah, there is a model that you can use. And this is how you use it. If you don't have a model, you can download free software, Navisworks Freedom, and get your model and then do it on your own. So
Yeah.
I think there's things that people aren't necessarily aware of that could make their lives easier. And I think that we're trying to, implement these things every day. This is kind of our main goal as a VDC department, is to better support our field operatives and implement our BIM, processes along the phase of construction.
Yeah, that's such a powerful tool, and as you mentioned, available at basically no cost once it's created.
Cost nothing.
But it is that challenge of having to instruct people, right? Teach them how to use these things, because they're not exactly. I'm sure for someone like yourself that's in it day in and day out, it's nothing, secondhand. But for someone who does that occasionally, twice a month or whatever, like that's a bit of an obstacle to learn the controls and be able to navigate it without becoming flustered and then saying,
Yeah.
well, you know what, whatever. I'm just going to go ask somebody what that plumbing line should be at instead of pulling it up in
Right.
the model.
And that was my whole first 2 weeks here when I first got, hired back into this department. Was, I was brand new at driving most of these softwares, and it's something that comes with time. And you just got to get in there and get your feet wet and go.
Build up a bit of that muscle memory.
That's it, yeah.
When you hit control, when you hit alt, click, drag,
Shift,
middle
middle
mouse
button.
wheel. Yeah, I can never remember it. Then, for whatever reason, I feel like Autodesk does one thing, and ArchCAD does something else, and Bluebeam is something else. And it's just like, you guys can't get on the same page.
Yeah,
Can't
no.
I think Revit and Navis were different, if I'm not mistaken.
They're different, yeah.
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 From the same company.
First hearing all of these words, I was just overwhelmed, just hearing just terms that I've never heard before, and it just sounds like it's just made up words. Like, yeah,
They're all made up, Colby.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, you gotta learn. It's the way of the future.
I think so, and the fact that you guys have built that building start to finish by the time you're done with coordination. So figuring out how this thing's going to come together, there's so much project knowledge tied into that model, but then you almost need like a Rosetta Stone, if you will, to take all that information and then turn it into something that's readily digestible out in the field.
I think that is a main component of how we can better implement or better leverage BIM in the field. If we can somehow get that model at the end of the job to look exactly like the model is in real life, and somehow use that as like a turnover for, closeout or any kind of, end of job procedures, because there's so much information, like you said, stored in that model. Locations of pertinent equipment, manufacturer data, it can all be right there. And so maybe it's not now, maybe it's in a couple of years, but maybe just essentially turning over a model instead of stacks of papers and a bunch of hard copies of things that can be easily clicked on and seen in a couple dialogue windows. So
what a beautiful world that would be, right? Like we
We'll get there.
as far as I'm aware, most of us live in a 3D space, and then we draw everything out in 2D and hand it off to facilities managers and owners and say, here, make sense of it. Good luck. I mean, I guess it's kind of same for us with architects, right? They draw it out in 2D, then say, oh, there you go. You can turn this 2D into 3D effectively, right? You're like, yeah, probably. Figure it out. Call you when we got a question.
Pretty much.
Do you think tools like the Procore Model Viewer will help kind of decentralize that information and allow people to use things like those models more effectively?
Yeah, I do. And something like the model in Procore, it's very user friendly. Doesn't have a whole lot of extra things that you wouldn't need if you just wanted to say, hey, how's this gonna look? What's the clearance from here to here? And so the tools that we use are stacked with information. I think the one on Procore is very field friendly, if you want to say that. So
yeah, that's a shout out Procore for making lives or making dreams come true, making lives easier out there. Oh, I'm not used to hearing those. I don't know who's on the soundboard today for us, but they're rocking it. I think that might be the doc back there. Dr. Fritz notes Dr. Dre, or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, I never know what I'm doing. I'm just out here trying to have some fun. Speaking of having fun, I heard you have some intel. Are aliens real?
absolutely.
No one's busting the doors down, coming to get us right now.
No, they're not.
How do you figure they're real? What evidence do you have?
So glad you asked.
Prove it. I need to know this. We've got 14 minutes.
The first question we have to ask ourselves is, what is an alien? If it's something that is not of this earth, not born, it's not a human, aliens are here. AI is here.
Ooh, you're in the AI as an alien camp.
Bear with me.
Okay.
You look at all the Boston Dynamic robots that are coming out of here. Alien. You got Elon Musk working on his Neuralink.
Oh, you could have just stopped at Elon Musk.
It's all right. I'm gonna go there. And imagine this: Boston Dynamic robot plugged with a Neuralink, with the functionality and capability of an AI, I guess, conversation tool such as ChatGPT. That's an alien.
That's an alien.
That's already here.
That's incredible. I hadn't thought about it, but yeah, you've got all those bits and pieces there.
So once they're fully combined, I mean, that's a cybernetic being that was not born.
Oh,
Maybe it's from this planet, but I don't think it's of this planet. I wouldn't say that.
but we came to be from probably studying people, proteins and little, cesspool, and turned into a fish, and the fish crawled onto the beach, and I'll leave the whole Mr. Garrison explanation out of that. But we ended up with humans. So like it was still created locally, right? Like manufactured domestically, if you will. Isn't that kind of the same for the AI and the Boston Dynamics and the Neuralinks and all that?
I would agree. I mean, these are human-made creations. I just think you give it a couple years and somehow they fuse. It's going to be something with a mind of its own, something that's going to be out of our control, and that can make its own decisions, take itself to a repair shop, weld itself, keep on trucking. They're gonna be things walking around that we can't harness.
I just had something happen in my head here. Whenever we go to Mars, will we be aliens?
Yes, sir. So yeah, if we go to the extraterrestrial side,
We'll be the aliens.
we will be the aliens.
So then you can't say aliens aren't real. As soon as we go to Mars, I mean, I guess I feel like the moon is too close, right? Like it's a satellite of our planet.
But we've gone further than the moon, though.
Well, not with humans that I'm aware of.
It's true.
Wait. Are they coming now?
Stop
No, we're
talking.
good. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good.
No.
I'm waiting for the G-men to show up and haul us out of here. Right.
But
Oh,
on
Kolby
to-
knows too much.
But onto that level, I do think aliens, as far as extraterrestrial, still exist. Very recently, last month, there's a man by the name of David Grush. He's very, very hot in the media the day that it happened. But he was known as the UFO whistleblower. And
Okay.
you've heard of this? I think it was.
Saw
it was
the headlines or whatever. yeah.
right. He was a ranking major in the U.S. Air Force for 14 years, and he came forward in a what do you call it? A small house committee, and just gave all this information, all these not accusations because they were fully believed by him and confirmed. But he says that the U.S. government is absolutely in possession of UAPs, which is the fancy new term for UFOs, unidentified analogous phenomena. He also claimed that he has coworkers or whatever the word is there that have recovered biocomponents from wreckages,
No way.
and they have those somewhere.
This was like in a testimony or
This
something.
was was a month ago. I think it was July 26th.
How did I hear about
It
these
was
things?
I think it was overlooked by a lot of the main media outlets, but I think it was the biggest piece of recent confirmation of extraterrestrial beings. So
That's
it's
wild.
very interesting to look into. I'm pretty sure there's all kinds of clips and recordings, articles that you can find on this guy, but he knows some information. He's been around for a little while, it seems like, and people are trying to shut him down now, I think.
Ooh,
So they're out there.
that's man.
They're here probably.
That's-
We just
that's
don't know.
something. Yeah, yeah. I'm keeping an eye on some of the folks back there. Behave far beyond what I think humans are capable.
But then you ask yourself, like why wouldn't they tell us? Well, why wouldn't they tell us?
Oh, there's so many reasons why they wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like there are far more reasons why people in general will want to conceal information than to disseminate information.
Exactly.
That's
They don't want all of us ants freaking out and
Oh yeah, you
you
know
know.
everyone's gonna be like, yeah, boss, I'm not coming into work tomorrow. No,
Scared.
aliens are real. I'm staying home. You know, well, no, I'm out.
oh man.
Wow. Yeah,
Haven't
you-
seen one myself. But
So you allege, but you folks heard it here. David Grush, Kolby Gagliano, they're good friends. Kolby knows some things, and the aliens are out there. If it's not the biological ones that come for you, it'll be the
purple and green ones.
purple green robotic
Oh yeah.
Boston Dynamics guys
Yeah.
coming out there chasing you down. Oh man. On a similar vein there, I was told this is not Godzilla on the board here.
Not Godzilla. No, this was drawn by my good friend Bruno Cicchini, who is a big component of Pokemon Go, and the name of this guy is Bulbasaur, and you kind of replace the B in my name, replace the K with a B.
Kolby.
Bulbasaur.
Bul-
Bulbasaur.
Kolbasaur.
It kinda,
Ah,
It kind
it
of
took me a minute, but I got there.
so it's
So you're the
kinda fitting.
Kolbasaur.
I don't claim to be. I have been called this by folks, but there it is.
What's the deal there? You said Pokemon. I remember I had Pokemon
Yeah,
Go.
no, I like Pokemon.
Yeah? Just
I played the games. Game Boy back in the day. It was a
childhood
classic,
passion.
man.
Well, and Pokemon Go, that was like you said Game Boy. That was on
Pokemon
iPhone
Go
a lot,
is
right?
like the new one that's on everyone's iPhones. You can go to real life places and catch these guys and do all kinds of things. And
I remember trying to do it, and I went to
Yeah.
Zilker, and I think it might have actually been like a VDC get together or something like that, or after or before or whatever it was, and I gave up real quick. I realized I'd be a terrible treasure hunter because I was like, I don't, this is like the AR type deal. I'm like, yeah, I don't see anything.
yeah,
I'm done.
yeah. Me and Bruno are friends on there, and he thought this would be a good way to display our friendship for the podcast. So this is the art
Strange choice,
the
but
art of choice for today.
I like it. It's different. We haven't had any Pokemon on here yet.
He's got his PPE on for the most part.
Is that what that is? It does say RO on it.
Yeah.
I thought it was a ball cap at first, but yeah, you're right. This is a hard hat. It's a hard hat. Got to be safe. No chin strap though. It's only good till January.
No strap, no goggles, but he can do it. He's safe.
Any shows or movies you recommend people go see, Colby? You a big movie buff or TV?
Yeah,
buff,
so
I guess?
nothing like super recent. But very good movies to watch. I'm a big sucker for Leo. But watch The Departed if you haven't seen it.
You
Most
said
folks
Leo,
is-
and I was thinking of someone's significant other, and I was like, wait, what? Yeah. Took me a second.
Okay, yeah. Shutter Island, very nice. I'm a big fan of these thrillers, mind bogglers, if you will.
I can tell. Without you saying that, I would have guessed. If you had said, James, guess what Colby's favorite movie genre is? I probably would have gone like something like psychological thriller.
Yeah,
That's
it's something at the end that just makes you like, oh wow, that's not what I was thinking. Makes the movie worthwhile. I think. Very good one out now, HBO Max, Ex Machina. Oscar Isaac, Domhnall Gleeson, and I forgot what the lady's name is, but it's just 3 actors. Very kind of small scale movie rather. Makes you think.
Boy,
Also AI. Sorry to cut you off.
yeah, you're good.
Also AI oriented. Main story is this programmer is giving life to AI. He's got a robot lady locked up in his house, and then this kid comes along, gets familiar with it, and human choices and rights start coming into contact or coming into the field, and it's cool, man. It's a nice ending, and well, maybe not nice. but
Nice ending.
Maybe not nice.
That's one way to describe it, I guess.
Yeah, go check it out.
I've actually seen that movie, and I love it. I'm
Yeah.
thinking it's I don't know when did that come out. Probably like 5
It was
years.
a
ago,
long
6 years
time ago, and I just I rewatched it the other night.
But it seems more relevant now than
Exactly.
ever,
does.
especially with all the talk about just the AI tools that are out there, and then looking at things like the SAG after the writer strike and all that,
Right.
and like what are the how do you balance the things that create things that aren't human, and how do you looking at the movie, like someone has to program it, right?
Yeah.
Like there's some sort of human influence on how that thing operates. How do you maintain some level of comprehension and understanding of what it's doing and why it's doing it,
Right.
so you can kind of
And when is
Oh.
it human? When do you draw that line to give it its human rights and to no longer try to keep a harness on it? That's our future.
apparently 18 years old is what it's 18 times 365. Whenever it's that many days old,
Yeah,
you're good to go.
that's it.
At least if you're as smart as a human. I think they're already probably far smarter than us.
It will be.
Man, you got some interesting things going on in your head there, Mr. Gagliano. This has been the fringiest of talks we've had yet. And
I'm glad.
I think we need to have more of these. This is it's a bit different, but
It might shut you down.
a lot of fun. Who is they? You get a phone call, gonna have some voicemails on there from one of those like just all zeros on.
Right. Yeah.
Mr. Holmes, gonna have to ask you to stop by.
Send you some
Pentagon.
coordinates. Yeah.
Yeah, some coordinates. out in the field, there's gonna be a Black Hawk there, just scoop us both up.
Come
I'm
with
like, oh,
us.
you know too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I haven't flown in a while. That'd be something to tell my friends about, right?
Exactly.
I think we have time for one more question here, Mr. Gagliano.
Shoot.
If you had to give young Colby some advice, what would you tell young Colby?
And I would tell that guy to not sweat the small stuff. There's a lot of things that are very insignificant and that pale in comparison to, where you are a year later. You get that zit in junior high. It's the end of the world. Let it go, man. It's not the end of the world. I saw this interesting graphic the other day, flow chart. I draw it, but you got a Bulbasaur on the board. But essentially, it's at the top of the page is do you have a problem? Okay, you got 2 drop downs with a yes or a no. The yes leads to can you do something about it? Which leads to a yes and a no. All options lead to, then why worry about it? Something that I'm trying to implement in my life that maybe is not as easy as said. But, if you have a problem and you can't do anything about it, it might suck, but don't dwell on it, If you can do something about it, fix it.
Yeah, be part of that solution, right?
Yeah.
If there's something that you can engage with, and I think whether it be something as simple as something around the house or whatever, or in your personal life, or something you have more concern about at a bigger level, those small actions can add up across a large population and really change how things operate and what the world's like and all that. So,
and bad things do happen. You just don't dwell. If it's something you need help on, go seek professional help, or find a way to cope. But can't beat yourself up. You just gotta live and learn, move on, take it home with you.
Love it. That's such a great point. You're already getting the applause. We're not even done yet. They're giving the applause. So thank you, Kolby, for taking the last 45 minutes to hang out with us. It was
45 already.
It's not just me. It's not just me. This is what happens. You sit down and you start having a conversation with someone, and it's like, oh shoot, that was 45 minutes. Like that was rather quick. I think we actually got to a lot of questions today. I didn't act shocked whenever we didn't. So I'm proud of myself in this instance. I think you were a fantastic guest.
Appreciate it.
Helped me get through these effectively. So
thank you very much for having me.
Actually, I did realize there's one we didn't ask. That's fine. Whatever. Don't ruin the trends. Sorry for last week for everyone that was involved with that. We had a little hiccup, and sorry, Mr. Brown, for not getting that full podcast pushed out to Spotify and Apple and all that. I'm had some issues there. I think we got it all resolved now, but I'll get that out ASAP. Next week we'll have Thomas Lucas, superintendent from the city of Austin. Will be joining us, talk a little bit about what it's like being a superintendent and what some of his challenges are. Talk a little bit about his award-winning innovation station idea of burning PPP cards and what became of that. So that'll be a lot of fun. Saw on the ROTVs. We're going to remind you guys, if you need shirts for like top-out parties and all that, give marketing 6 weeks. They need those forms filled out 6 weeks before you need the shirts. If you hit them up 2 weeks beforehand, they're probably not going to be able to give them to you. So if you have a topping out, project closeout, whatever going on, get those orders in. And per the words of Mr. Gagliano, don't sweat the small stuff. Enjoy life.
Very nice.
All right. Thanks, Kolby.
Thank you.
Maybe a little outfit.